Hey, it's John, and this week we are building a Dana 300 NP231 dual transfer case setup in my buddy Bill's Jeep right here. Stay tuned and go wheel. So at some point in your wheeling career, you're probably going to want deeper gears, and you can only go so deep in your axles, maybe 538s, maybe 617s if you're running larger axles. But what you can do is you can also re-gear your transfer case or run dual transfer cases. So what we're covering today is basically cutting an NP231 in half and mating that front half to the front of a Dana 300. What that's going to do is it's going to give us a 7.1 double low range, a 2.72 single low, and a 2.62 single low. It's also going to give us three shifting levers for our transfer case setup, and you're gonna have a lot of options. You're gonna have 2 low front, 2 low rear. Next, I'm gonna go over a list of parts and materials we used. We used the Dana 300. So D&D Machine and Mad Rooster started making these years ago on Pirate 4x4. Now currently the ones I could find are Frog Fab, which is this kit, and then I think Frolik Fab makes one. But basically it comes with a block off plate for your 231 and then another block off plate for the side where you actually cut this on like a bandsaw, and you're taking out the front output gear, taking out the back half of the transfer case. And now you have this block off plate with a clocking ring. This clocking ring will bolt to your 300, and basically this whole assembly will now bolt to your transmission, and you'll now have much deeper gears at a relatively low cost compared to an Atlas. We paid $300 for a flipped 300, to something for the Downeast Offroad shift kit, like $500 for the Frog Fab kit. We did pay $300 to have someone weld the block off plate on, since I can't weld aluminum. And then from there, you're gonna need to do drive shaft modifications and shift linkage modifications, and that's all gonna be custom. You're also gonna be cutting your floor out as well. There's really no good way around this. If you're running passenger drop, you do a lot less work, but because we're running driver drop, we're actually flipping the 300 upside down and putting shifters up top, and we're flipping the 231 upside down to avoid the front output and the shift linkage on the 300. So a few things on the Dana 300 that we figured out is the center line on the front input to the front output is 1 inch shorter than the 231. So clocking is going to be really important so you have drive shaft clearance. And then secondly, when we bolted these together, the total length was only 1.5 inches longer than a 231. So we think our rear drive shaft is only going to need to be 1.5 inches shorter, and our current rear drive shaft is 1 inch too short as is. So we're going to be really close on the rear. On the front though, your front output is sticking much further back. We measured off the yoke on here, and we're going to be about 5.5 inches further back on the front shaft. So that front shaft's going to have to be lengthened about 5.5 inches. Only way to get this thing in there, like with the shift linkage even kind of flat, is we paint mark those 3 holes yellow, and we gotta open those up with the grinder. Just taking material out of the transmission, and we're gonna open up these holes with the die grinder. So we had to open up that hole, and that hole to get the T-case to clock up. Those 3 we didn't have to touch. Yeah, we had to cut the tranny tunnel way out. Wow. Right, we made a cardboard Dana 300. It kind of mocks the shifters. Dan's making the kick out right now because we don't want to lift this big heavy fucker up there like 1,000,000 times for clocking. All right, so we did a ton of measuring, and we had to cut the driver's side tranny tunnel right there. We measured all the angles based on the empty crawl box to where this was going to sit, and then measured.
Just tighten.
We measured the cardboard cutout 27 degrees down, and got the initial clocking, we think, really, really, really close. Joey's just getting the strap on the tranny jack. So we put a piece of plywood on the tranny jack, and then we have a 4-inch block of wood holding this side up. Joey is tightening up the strap, and this is going to get us really close with the clocking, and this is sticking up, which is good because the tranny's sticking down. And we can probably see through here that we cut the heck out of the floor to get that thing clocked right. And it's been a long day. All right, so We have 2 tranny jacks under the assembly. It's insanely tight of a fit, but we managed to take a ton of measurements. Got a tranny jack with a piece of plywood and a 4x4 holding the T-cases up, a tranny jack under the tranny. It's hanging down really far to clear all the floor stuff, but we're almost there, I think. We'll see. So we scribed 1-1 and Sharpied 2-2-3-3, so we know exactly where to clock this with the ring. The ring only goes on one way on the T-case. So you're just gonna wanna like thoroughly mark. I just used the scribe. Out the vent tube. Yeah. See, I'm gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. Thanks. Oh God, yeah. Oh my God, we didn't tape off that bearing.
I didn't even see you.
Right there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna RTV that in there.
Yeah.
So there's like a little tiny finger right here, and then the big pronounced thing, and it goes in like that, and then that, and then there's a bunch of little fingers. There's a bunch of little fingers right here. That's how the case is oriented. So this will help us put it back in. Okay, so it's right here where the plug is. This is where the little range, it's like a range sensor. If your range sensor currently worked, it'll probably still work with this. All right, so we got it together. We had to drill and tap a new vent tube right here. We're using the old inspection drain plug hole for, this isn't pipe thread, but we're using pipe thread. It went in, we RTV'd it. Got the case halves RTV'd together. Sketchy, but it's in there. Yeah. One thing to call out is make sure that your input shaft length is the same on both transfer cases. In our case, the inside depth, the outside depth, and the seal mating surface, everything was exactly the same. In our case, the snap ring for the input bearing hadn't seated all the way and was spacing out this input seal housing just enough, and it was cockeyed that it wouldn't fully bolt up. We caught it, luckily. Just wanted to call that out. 4x4, piece of plywood to steady it. 3 guys. 3 guys to do everything. Got this giant access hole that helps tremendously. It's a lot of weight. It does that with. We need to rotate it a little bit. Here, right there. Can you push it on? Push it on. It's on.
Oh, it's on?
I think so. Let's see. Yeah, we're on. Okay, push it. We're on all the way.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yes.
You're not lying to me, are you?
No. Tranny jack and a jack under the 300 to hold everything up. All right, we patched up some of the floor holes on this side. This side still has a ton of patching to do, but I think it's going to be simple. It's going to be one big old piece. I mean, it's not going to be simple, but whatever. So we had to do a lot of floor patch. This is for the nub, the Downeast Offroad shifter. This is for the vent valve little cap. We've got the shifters in. We're patching those up. They all shift. Right. Dan, that is our new shift lever, a big old piece of flat bar that we bent, drilled out, mounted directly to the 231 shifter. All right, so 300 doubler. There's the 300 flipped upside down, Downeast Offroad shift kit. Let me start. There's the Atlas shifters. We haven't put the front drive shaft in, but it looks like it should clear just fine. Rear drive shaft is on. It's a WJ V8 NP231 front shaft that I had lying around that was about the right length. It might be a hair long, but it's the closest one we had. To modify the floor and cover up this little shifter guy. All this good stuff. There's the, I'm just gonna ignore if that's gear oil or not. There's the 231. I can't believe it's on there. Big old floor patch right there. We got vent tubes running all over. We still got like work to do, but it drives. It runs and drives. There's some of the floor patch we did. This is our temporary lever that I made. So that's 4 low. This transfer case is shifted upside down. So that's low, that's neutral, that's high, which is 2-wheel drive with just a crawl box. There's your 2 high. You can see the, I had to drill and tap a vent tube up top. And you can kind of see some of the Atlas shifters. This is a big problem. These are these are getting into the seat. We need to shift these over, cut and weld those shifters, get that done. We have no idea how a passenger seat's gonna go back in or how a center console is gonna go in, but we're probably just gonna literally just mock it up and start cutting stuff. And then we need to figure out some kind of coverage boot thing for this guy, which I don't know how that's gonna work either, but whatever. We will figure that out. Let's see. Yeah, because it hits like every, I love how smooth that is to shift though. That's really cool. Thanks for following along this week. If you can, please like, subscribe, and comment below. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow the channel. See you next time. The Jeep?
Yeah.
We drove it in. Okay. So that is, I think that's low. So all the way back seems to be low. Obviously the middle's neutral, and I think that is, wait. I think that's neutral. That just spins naturally, yeah, so that's not spinning. So that's in neutral. And then, see, sometimes you have to turn that. See that? Mm-hmm. It wouldn't go, and you just give it a tiny turn. Now we're in, I think is that 2 or is that? I just want to, that other one seemed like low, but maybe sometimes it's confusing. Like, what the fuck? Okay. So there's a mark right here. Oh yeah, that's high. So that's high. So all the way, this one is all the way forward. That's 2. This is rear output first off. So this is rear output. This is front output. This one's in neutral in the middle, and then we could go. That's high. That's 4 high. And then that's 2 high. That's neutral, complete neutral. And then that's 2 low, rear. And then that's 4 low, front and rear. I'm just thinking that we put these on there now and RTD this down there now while we try to start with the clocking on that. Is what I'm thinking. Because I don't want to have that open. Like while we're trying to put everything together, because it kind of sticks up a little bit too. So, cool.